Corvette C6. We're going to be taking off the front bumper and the front fenders, putting on some ZR1 replica fenders from JD Corvette, and a factory Z06 front bumper. We got a T15 Torx bit, a pick, get a small driver with a 7mm and a 10mm. This top, we got the fender. All these Torx bits are T15s. Up front on the front bumper, these are 8mm all the way along it. Underneath, we got 8mm, 8mm. Inside here is what the pick's for. We're gonna pull out these tabs all the way around the edge. And then once you get around to the front, we got 10mm and 10mm on that side. I believe that's it. Nope, we got a couple 8mm under here. So we'll get to it. Here's one Torx bit I didn't know about. So under your windshield washer, I don't know what you call this, the cowling, if you pull back this rubber, there's one right there, one on each side, so there and there. Also, I think we are gonna have to lift up the car off the wheels so I can pull out the liner. I might be able to fit my hand in there, I'm not sure. But we may have to lift up the car, get it off these wheels, and then I can fit. Besides that, everything is loose and unbolted. There are two tabs here and here. I'm gonna pull it and it should pop that off. But like I said, I'm pretty sure there is either one or two bolts that hold this and the fender together, the front bumper and the fender together. You go ahead, take the wheels off. It's going to give you so much more space. Since we're going wider fender, we're going to have to take off this liner anyhow, so let's do that. The main thing is inside of here is that little pinch seam right there. There's two 10mm bolts. Those are the last two bolts. That's what's connecting front bumper to the front fender. We're also going to unhook the turn signal and the fog light. Back where the scoop is, kind of crazy, but that's how it is. All right, they're all off. We're gonna do this in reverse order. So that means fenders, where are they? Fenders got to go on first, and then we'll fit up the bumper after that. I didn't make any adjustments to the hood. I didn't want to unbolt or loosen that because that's kind of my base to make sure that everything else lines up. The less I unbolt, the better. I recommend that. Even if you're going to be changing the hood out for something with scoops, do one step at a time. Do the bumper and the fenders first, and then do the hood once you've gotten those all lined up. Let's see. Ran into my first fitment issue. I was seeing this wasn't lifting up and over. Everything lines up perfectly over here, and then it was sitting so high on the headlight. Turns out it's just because I had to drill a hole. I didn't realize. 3/8 inch hole right where the headlight is. There's a nub sticking up. Fender has to sit down in that. I'll show you on the factory one. It's right here. Headlight has a nub that fits right inside there. 3/8 inch drill bit, perfect size. So I'm gonna pop this fender off, drill the hole, and I'll put it right back on. 3/8 inch hole so that we match the factory one. And then we're gonna need this bracket. I think that you actually need a different bracket. This is for the base model. But looking at it, I think it's gonna be close enough. I'm gonna use it and then possibly cut this part off. So I'm gonna push it up in here, and that is gonna be those 10mm bolts, the two 10mm bolts that were behind the wheel liner that hold the fender down to the bumper. So we're gonna let that sit in place there. Do a favor, and that nub where the headlight is, just do a 1/2 inch. Drill it too big, that way you can play with it. This side popped in so beautifully, nice and flush, and then literally every single hole down there lines up. And then on this side, same thing underneath. Once I go to screw these in, they all line up. So that's the big trick, and then this just needs to be pulled up whenever I bolt it in, and then we'll have a nice consistent line going all the way down. This side needs bolted down. But like I said, 1/2 inch. Drill a 1/2 inch, don't do the 3/8, give yourself some wiggle room. Is on, boys and girls. We got her on. Front bumper and fenders. Let me stand back so y'all can see. So I don't have everything bolted up. You gotta have the wheel wells in to finish bolting up the rest of the brackets. But cutting that factory base model bracket worked perfectly. It's nice and tight here. Good to go. I got really just one bolt here, the one of the two bolts here, and then two up top just holding it in place to get a feel of the fitment. I want you to see that line is consistent. However, the door will scrub right now because of two things. One, I gotta pull this up just a hair, like literally, I don't know, a couple millimeters. So I'm gonna put a spacer underneath of the one screw here so it lifts it up. And then the biggest part is right here. It needs to come out. That was that 8mm that was tucked all the way in the back. I don't have that bolted in. So basically, you're gonna put that 8mm back here. You're gonna put some pressure, outward pressure, on the fender, right? So I'm gonna do it right here so you can see it move. That little bit of pressure. And when you do that, you can see it kind of bulge. Let me see, right there. So once you put in that outward bit of pressure, I've already checked it. The doors do open without scrubbing at all. So lines up great. Front bumper, I can't say if the JD Corvette's bumper would work just as well, but I assume so. Everything else they've done was perfect. This was a factory off of a Z06. Obviously we got to put the weather seal in here so it makes that body line a little bit smoother. The biggest part is it's a very sharp edge where this fender is. I rolled my finger across the factory one and it's much more rolled over. So I'm gonna sand this down evenly all the way up it. And again here, I'm gonna sand it just ever so slightly just to get rid of that sharpness. And once I do that and put on that weather stripping, it's gonna be beautiful. So even as is, I mean, you really can't tell. You'd have to be really critiquing it. Yeah, it looks crazy with all these different colors though. Let's see, get this shot here. Looks awesome. Nice, nice, nice. JD Corvette, you guys are awesome. I love it. Again, this is not all the way bolted up. You can see just how much lift I still have in the front bumper. So I'll be tightening up this little seam right here. And that's it. That poke out from the side. Gosh, that looks good. Next is I'm going to order the liners and all the extra parts, the ducting, everything that goes back behind these bumpers. I'm going to take these off while those are being shipped. I'm assuming it's going to take probably a month or so to get those parts in. So I'm going to take these off. We're going to do those little bit of touch-ups, the sanding up here, this little emblem I'm going to body fill and sand, and then we're going to paint all the fenders and the panels. Paint them velocity yellow. I'm gonna put them back on, then we'll have the parts in, put them back on for final fitment, and then we're gonna paint the whole car again velocity yellow, because this thing needs it. I mean, look at just the wear and tear. If you get up close, this car needs a paint job pretty badly. Comments before I end this video. These are the factory base model fog lights. They fit perfect. The brackets, all 3 holes bolt up exactly like the base model ones. So that's super cool. You don't have to buy those. Front grille though, I was questioning if you could make this fit or not. Definitely not. I mean, you could if you cut it all up and did some crazy stuff, but definitely need to be buying a new grille. Because the Z06 bumper is definitely different than the base model in terms of the opening right there. I'm guessing they probably have it a bigger opening, let in more air. The fenders I measured, it is 1.5 inches wider than base model. So we put a level up here, measured out from the edge of the tire, measured out 1.5 inches. Fit perfect. So you got to put on some ZR1 Grand Sport or Z06 wheels to make that happen. Overall though, super impressed. Here's a final look at it. JD Corvettes, I'm very impressed with your kit. I love it. Looking forward to working with y'all again on future parts. Stay tuned. Peace.